Today I'm thrilled to announce my support for this bipartisan bill that will make our community safer and give former inmates a second chance at life after they have served their time.
Our vision for 2020 is to address the problems within the American criminal justice system. The necessity for reform of the justice system is found crucial on all sides of the political spectrum.
And tragically, the United States has more people in jail than any other country.
First and foremost, we need to look at what is the purpose of a justice reform.
Well, I think like any other policy question that we face on a daily basis, that is a complex question with a lot of ifs and frankly, and a lot of buts and a lot of determinants in terms of trying to determine, as we look at incarceration as a deterrent, we also must look at it and balance it against public safety, public health, and obviously protecting the property of our citizens.
Every day is a fight to stay sane, to stay upbeat, you know what I mean, to stay positive, because prison is such a negative space.
He talks about, it's very similar to things you hear today, that the people running the prison dropped any kind of attempt at rehabilitating inmates, and it was all about profit.
As someone that presides over an accountability treatment court, we've seen lives change, because if I have someone going through the program, male or female, and we treat their underlying issues, mental health, substance use, homelessness, joblessness, we address all of those things, their recidivism will go down dramatically and we'll see their life restored.
An important point to be noticed is addressing the root causes. Many people entering the criminal justice system have issues with substance abuse and mental health. Where should this be addressed? At the prison level? Earlier?
Are we just going to look at the symptoms, which is a recidivism rate? How do we solve that? How do we get more education into prisons? How do we get more mental health services into prison? These are all important things. How do we then, at the justice system, how do we give more sentencing guidelines to our judges, more maybe discretion to our judges, more discretion to our prosecutors? But then the third thing must be, how can we attack the root cause? And the root cause really does come down to birth to four, and how it is that we can help those parents be able to ensure that their children have their alphabet, are able to do simple reading, are able to have a broader vocabulary, and be able to see shapes and forms.
That indicates the dedication of resources to make sure that these inmates have a fighting chance to turn their lives around and to be released under circumstances where recidivism doesn't
reduce in costs, both the incarceration costs and the outside costs. So if I incarcerate, say, a father, then that father's not supporting his children, not supporting his significant other if he has a significant other, or the mother of the children. So that's a cost as well. You don't have the productivity of what he could be doing if he was not in the criminal justice system.
Once they leave the prison, they are going back to prison. Then we need to ask ourselves a question, is that once the people who leave the prison, do they have the way of making a living in our society?
Individual status alters their experience with the criminal justice system. Poverty and race makes people more vulnerable to entering the system, and according to some opinions, affects their interactions within the system as well.
If you are from a lower socioeconomic status, you have a less opportunity to get out of the criminal justice system. When you don't fund schools, when you don't provide economic opportunity, there's only one place you can go, and that is into the criminal industrial complex.
They don't have a job available for them. Obviously, they will go back to where they used to know how to make money, which is criminal activity.
There have been questions surrounding prosecutorial discretion and whether it's warranted from them more or less discretion in a political climate where accountability to the public, especially through social media, is at the highest it's ever been throughout history.
Most public servants, like prosecutors, are trying to do the right thing and trying to keep their community safe. So in general, discretion is good. Occasionally, discretion is abused. And when it's abused, I think those people should be held accountable for it.
But when we have statistics, and I want Reverend Sharpton to answer this as well, that clearly indicates the higher number of African Americans that are killed by law enforcement.
Department of Justice came out with a study that said that black people and white people commit crimes about the same level. We get harsher sentences for them.
Whether you're arrested often has more to do with your zip code many times and skin color than your predisposition toward crime or committing another crime.
As far as the way the justice system works, I don't know that I can answer that, because you'd have to identify what part of the system that you're addressing. So But certainly we know that if you are poor, you're much more likely to be involved in the criminal justice system. If you're involved in the criminal justice system, you're much more likely to be poor.
A large amount of that can be generated and used towards education to stem the tide on the front end. Because if you're spending money on the back end to incarcerate and you're not spending money on the front end to educate, you're just creating a cycle of reoffending and causing the issue to be exacerbated in many communities.
The criminal justice system is a complex entity that requires reform in certain areas, and the extent of this reform and its targets are up to questions posed by people across the political spectrum. Criminal justice reform is integral to this country's growth and must be addressed in the 2020 presidential election to the fullest extent.